Say hey everyone, welcome into another edition of Say Hey Plays. My name is Jose Bouquett, and joining me, as he does every so often now, not enough, I'd argue, is my buddy Andrew Santanto. Andrew, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Yeah, like you said, it's been a little while since my last one on here, so I'm excited to get back at here. A lot to dive into outside those games going on here tonight. So I'm excited.
I'm excited as well. Hopefully, your Wi-Fi holds up as well, because it's a little choppy right now. But hey, we figure it out. We've got a short
Sorry.
card today. That's all right. It's all right. We figured out. You got this university Wi-Fi. You guys need to get fiber. Petition for fiber. So it's going to be a lot of fun today. We're not going to take too much time on the games. Probably it's a couple of games, 6 of them, kind of crappy to say the
Yes.
least. But we will talk about them and then roll about some trade deadline reactions as well. As you guys can see, the mustache is back officially. We're rolling with it. I need some good luck, Andrew. The stash is back, and I need some good luck here today because I've had a couple losing days in a row. But now it's time. It's time to turn it around here, Andrew. I think you're the catalyst for this. So, are you ready to officially start the show here?
Absolutely.
All right, let's get into it, guys. Say hey plays 116. Say hey 116 officially underway here with the Miami Marlins versus the Cincinnati Reds. Mike Minor versus the NL Cy Young favorite, Sandy Alcantara. Sandy Alcantara is coming off of maybe is one of his worst starts of the season. 5 innings, 8 hits, 4 runs versus the New York Mets. Kind of a shocker there. Well, the Mets are a good club, so I don't know if it's a shocker, but I definitely think it was a little surprising. Mike Minor has been, up and down, I guess, more down than up, but he had a decent start last time, 5 1/3, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, 4 Ks, 3 walks versus the Baltimore Orioles at home. We all know the lefty righty matchup there against lefties. He's only faced 66 this year, but he holds them to a 177 average against righties. 172 of those guys faced a 329 average against. So I didn't want to move on this game, obviously, because of the juice price on the Marlins. If you really like the Marlins, think they can score some runs off Sandy, I'd take the 1.5. Maybe let me double check here, actually, because I want to double check if the lines are even bettable, to say the least, because
Yeah, I got the one. I got the 1.5 at +104. I'd take that because of Sandy. You only need Miami to get like 3 or 4 runs. I don't see him giving up, especially after Reds trade and Brandon Drury getting rid of some guys at the deadline. I don't see them scoring off of Sandy too much tonight. So I think I can trust Miami to get 3 or 4.
no, I agree with you wholeheartedly there. So Miami run line would be my lean, but it's so tough to bet the Marlins because their offense is so bad. They're 24th against lefties since the All-Star break, 68 weighted runs created plus. And Stellar Girl also saying he's decent through the first time in the order, and Miami has a 37 weighted runs created plus since the All-Star break. They're really bad. They're really bad
Well, they're
offensively.
missing their All-Star. So
Yeah, Jazz Chisholm is the catalyst of that offense. He's the face of baseball down there. So shout out to Jazz. But a pass game for me. I didn't make anything official. Andrew likes the -1.5 there for the Miami Marlins. Let's move on to the next game here. And this is the only addition I have on my card. I hinted to it earlier today. And then after doing some research on it, I'm kind of a little more trepidatious about it, but I'm still going to play it. A Pittsburgh team total over 3 -115. You guys know what that means. I'm raising it today. We raise it as always here. We pit when we bet the Pirates. But they're 29th right now against righty, 61 weighted runs created plus, and Freddie Peralta coming off the 60-day IL with a lat injury. I don't know exactly how that's going to go for him. He's had 2 really good rehab starts. Brandon Woodruff had 2 really good rehab starts, and he came out firing immediately. Is Freddie going to do the same? I'm not sure, but 3 runs is a low number at a -115 price for me. So I moved on that. If I'm taking a side, obviously it's the Brewers, just because against righties they're first right now, and this is a bullpenish day for the Pirates. So ultimately, I'm taking the Pirates team total over 3, and I'm leaning towards the over as well because it could be one of those days where the Brewers score over 8 runs themselves. So Pirates team total over 3 for me here, Andrew.
Think Freddy's gonna be throwing 102 like DeGrom in his first start back yesterday?
I do not know. I do not, but
It's not gonna be that
that's
good.
that is exactly why the Mets were one of my World Series favorites here. So I'm right there. Yeah.
No, I'm gonna pass here. I don't know. I struggle to trust the Brewers in general. They ended up losing yesterday to the Pirates. Pirates, and I think it was Cruz hit that big late home run for them to get them back in the game. So overall, and I also don't like going after guys that are coming off the IL because you really don't know whether he's going to be on an innings limit or such like that. So, and that Pirates team isn't good enough for me to back up their offense all the time. So I'm going to ultimately pass, but I do see where you're coming from.
Yeah, no, and we've got guys in the chat liking the over. Eric Jones likes the under here, so there you go. As I say that, Eric Jones says that. Mike M likes the Pirates run line spot, 0-7 after a win on the run line and a returning pitcher. It's all about Freddie Peralta versus this lineup. It's going to be interesting, full of lefties too, so I will be watching this game closely for sure. Let's talk about another matchup here, the rivalry that everyone tries to say is better than Red Sox Yankees, but we know who the best rivalry of baseball is. Cardinals Cubs. And it is, by the way, it's Cardinals at home here, I think. At least I think it is. I might have flipped it on the graphics. Am I right there?
The Cardinals are home. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So Cardinals are at home for the Cubs here. Justin Steele, Miles Michaelis. It's an interesting matchup. There's supposed to be rain in St. Louis, so I don't want to take too much time on it. It's supposed to be thunderstorms until like 4 a.m. today. So I would play the team total over 4.5 for the Cardinals, and I would play the over in this game if it happens. The Cardinals are first against lefties, a really small sample size, only 36 plate appearances, but they're 209 weighted runs created plus. So maybe they've got their groove back, but I think this game gets rained out.
Well, so does the rain. Like, even if they do play it, that to me would push me more to the under, right?
Well, I don't
know.
know.
The wind's going.
Yeah, it's tough because I had the rain delay in Kansas City, and I'm gonna go 1-1 on my bets in the morning. I had the Minnesota run line. Shout out to Ron Crawford and Matty Ice, of course. I had Kansas City over team total over 3.5. It's 4-1 bottom 8. They had a rain delay, but both pitchers still came out, so it's interesting.
Yeah, no, that is interesting. I do think it's a tough one there. But no, if you said it's supposed to rain till 4, and these are two teams obviously that play a lot, they'd be likely to just postpone it because it's gonna be a lot easier to make up. It's not like two teams that only play each other so often. So
yeah, pass game for us. Shout out to Man Bear Pick hitting a little Pirates Nats parlay. Might hit it again, so shout out to him. That's a big money price right there. I know that is. Oakland A's, Los Angeles Angels, James Caprillion versus Shohei Ohtani. Ohtani back in our live here. 7 probably the appropriate total here because both of these offenses do not inspire confidence. But the funniest stat that I see every time I go over these numbers is the Oakland A's against righties are second right now since the All-Star break, 132 weighted runs created plus. So they were hitting righties pretty hard to start off this All-Star break, and it's still at second. So kudos to them. Is it going to stay there for how long? I don't know. Is Ohtani going to carve him up? I'd say probably. But it's a minus 230, obviously, so it makes it super tough to bet. So just another unfortunate pass here, but I do like James Caprillion on that under. I definitely do not hate it at all.
I mean, talk about a bad game, especially with the Angels. Angels have been, and they obviously sold a lot yesterday, so that's a tough read there as well. I'm gonna pass.
It's funny because we'll talk about your Phillies here soon, but it's just such a weird predicament the Angels put themselves in because now I would not personally trade Shohei Ohtani next year still, even though he's probably going to leave. But that's the position they're going to put themselves in. So very, very interesting indeed. Now let's talk about the other play I've got on this card remaining. I'm only going to stick with the first 5. I'm not going to add the full game. I'm going Rockies money line in the first 5 here. I think that, as we say, no team should be minus 300 favorites. So just basically following the rule here, but I'm going to be excited to see, obviously, how this lineup reacts. I think it'll take, I don't know, like 2 games, 3 games for everything to come together. Maybe Bob Melvin has to move some pieces around in the lineup to figure out what way they all want to go, what way suits them. And I think it'll take a little bit of time for those guys to, get it all together. So maybe they'll, and especially first night, maybe they're gripping the bats a little tighter. I don't know. And ultimately, Andrew, I was talking to Moose Money, who obviously is a Padres fan. You know him, you love him, Andrew. I'm betting with the bag earlier today, and he said himself, like, he's going to the game, and it's ultimately not about winning or losing this game. It's about just the lineup coming together. Everyone, seeing the lineup, blah blah blah. And I'm like, yeah, I kind of feel like the Padres feel the same way. Like they just want to get together, get out there, and feel it out. Fill it out. And Blake Snell, though he's been good this year, or not, I shouldn't say this year, he's been good recently. 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 7 Ks, 1 walk at Minnesota, and then at the New York Mets, 5 innings, 4 hits, 0 earned runs there. I think the Rockies might be able to do something here. Only issue is, and obviously this is the biggest glaring issue for me, and I'm going to double check this actually right now on my splits here, but the Rockies against lefties right now, since the All-Star break, 41 rated runs rated plus. That's dead last. Obviously, Blake Snell is lefty, and it's worrisome. That's the ultimate trump card. I can say all this is well and good, and maybe the Chad Cool gives us some goose eggs, but if the Rockies bats don't come to play, then this will all be futile at the end of the day. So we'll see how it goes, but I'm taking Rockies first 5 money line here. I got let me double check on the price. I think it was plus 225, 224, plus 224 on the money line for me, Andrew.
See, I kind of like the game over in this one. I think almost the opposite. I think they're going to come out fire in the first couple before teams kind of adjust a little bit before then they take off again. But I think they're going to be excited to get after it, especially, I mean, you think about Juan Soto and Josh Bell being stuck in Washington all year. Now they get to go out here, play in front of a fan base here that's chasing a wild card spot. Obviously, the division's probably more than likely gone, but maybe hopes there that they can climb back in that race a little bit. I think what better way to get fans excited than come out firing here in these first couple games, and then maybe see that tail off for a few games before they figure out that full lineup. I think it's going to be one of those situations, you get that big outburst tonight, and then you get that excitement around the team. I feel like that's the way it's going to go. So I kind of like the game over here, especially Rockies off of Snell as well.
It is an under park, like people are saying, and what's funny, it's this weird, just clash in my head as we have Slam Diego, obviously, and they've got this fearsome lineup, and they've always been the last 2 years now. They've been home run kings and all that stuff, and then they play in a ballpark that's technically a pitcher's park, and it's pretty shocking to see. So yeah, banana boat float. I am on the first 5 money line. I'm not on full game money line. Shout out to Earl Sports Bet wherever he is. He's been doing the minus 300 fades as well, and he's been saying the last couple from him, he's been keeping a better record than I have, obviously. But he's saying the first 5 has been a lot more profitable in full game. And, that ultimately kind of makes sense at the end of the day when you're thinking minus 300's there. So I'm going to stick with the first 5 here, thinking Chad Cool has a bounce back start because he's been struggling as of late. Let me double check here. And his last 2 starts were against 2 first place teams, obviously, the Dodgers and Milwaukee. 5 earned runs and 3 2/3 versus the Dodgers, and then 3 earned runs, but 5 runs given up against Milwaukee at Milwaukee and 2 1/3. So that's what we'll ultimately see here. And ultimately, if I, this is probably the only way to bet this game. It's tough to bet the Padres in this game, obviously, at a minus 300. Maybe you take a team total, but I want something on this game that it's going to be a great game to watch. So the atmosphere is going to be fun too. So exactly. maybe the thing is, maybe that atmosphere propels them a little bit, but we'll see here. We'll see. Rocco Rogers saying Bovada's scared again. I'm worried. Why? What do you mean about that, Rocco? I'm worried about that statement. Don't tell me they're not down. And by the way, Damon saying Petco isn't a pitcher's park because 5 years ago the wall's been moved a lot. Yeah, see, I don't get it, but it's still the totals are still so low here for oftentimes, Damon. So, I mean, I like I said, I've also the last 2 years it's been Slam Diego in my head, but it's a thing that I've been saying again and again and again. And by the way, they're saying won't give me my young gun James Outman over 1.5 bases. Hit streak going. Wow. So you a big James Outman guy, Rocco? Could you explain your connection there? I'd love to hear it, Rocco. Interesting. Last game on our card, real quick. Julio Urias and Alex Cobb here. This is another fantastic rivalry, obviously, in Giants-Dodgers. But truthfully, am I going to bet against the Dodgers on the day after Vin Scully passes away? No fucking chance. No fucking chance. They're third against righties, 128 weighted runs created plus. Alex Cobb has been really good. And like I've been saying, every time he comes out of the bump, I'll back him every time this year. And well, not every time, in certain spots this year, because he's one of the Giants pitchers that I believe in that first year Giants bump, you know. They get in whatever, they do their magic, they find out something, they change your mechanics, pitch arsenal, whatever it is, and it works out. And then the second year we fade him, but he's still in the midst of that. So I like him, but I'm not gonna back the Giants serious. But again, I believe in all that karmic, cosmic stuff. I would not be surprised at all if it's like a walk-off hit today to beat the Giants. And by the way, is it a coincidence that Vin Scully, by the way, is a self-proclaimed Giants fan as well, and he dies on the day or during a series of the Giants and Dodgers? It's pretty crazy to see. So I'm passing. I would back the Dodgers in some form or fashion. But yeah, ultimately a pass. And shout out to Vin Scully, of course, which I think we need to reiterate this. 67 seasons. 67 seasons with the Dodgers. 50 since 1950, I believe it is. 1950. And the stat the thing that put this into perspective that really blew my brain, Andrew, was he called all of Jackie Robinson's career and all of Clayton Kershaw's career until 2016. So
that's unbelievable.
Those are just like the stats you get with Vin Scully. So
you got to call Hank Aaron's home run, right?
I have not had a time to sit down and not break down, but like listen to all the calls. But I think so. I wouldn't be surprised at all. I mean, come on, he's the voice of baseball. He'll always find a way to to be in those spots.
Well, because I'm pretty sure that if I remember correctly, last time I listened to that, I think it's a pretty good call there when he passes Babe Ruth.
Yeah. I mean, he's a voice of baseball, and he'll always be the GOAT announcer as well. So shout out to him. Did you have anything on this game, Andrew?
No, I'm with you. I back the Dodgers though. I don't hate the over either. I mean, 7.5. I think this Dodgers team is going to come out pretty good as well. But no, I'd probably ultimate pass on this and stick to the plays I mentioned earlier as my ones to go with, which we usually recap here in a little bit. So.
Yeah, and I can't. It's crazy to me thinking about Vin Scully. Like, I don't know. This is probably like a millennial, whatever youth thing. We're not millennials, but whatever. But like, just 67 years in one job.
Unbelievable.
Is just so crazy. It's just so crazy. So shout out to him, man. What a life that guy lived. Let's recap the plays here, Andrew, and then we'll talk a little bit more about the trade deadline. Maybe you'll give some winners and losers. I don't know. I actually just wrote down a couple trades I like, and I wanted to get your reaction to the Phillies because I always want to hear your Phillies takes, and maybe they could be a wild card playoff dark horse. Who knows? It's always been just get in, Phillies. Just get in.
So that's 2011.
It has been. So I'll recap the plays here. I've got Colorado money line first 5 here plus 224. I've got the Pittsburgh team total over 3 at minus 115. And officially, I did lose that Royals over team total over 3.5. And that is my actual record. I counted it as a loss prematurely, so I knew that was going to happen. But 328 and 324 up 23.77 units on the year. Kind of rocky these last couple of days. Can easily point to why those days were. Obviously, I was in Houston the last day, I guess, and then traveling the next day. So, so this is going to be the day. Hopefully, we have a little bit of a bounce back, a 1-1 morning. So let's have at it. Andrew, what are your plays?
I would take the Marlins minus 1.5 plus 104. I think I'm going to back up Sandy here. Sandy all day there. I do like the over in the Rockies Padres game over an 8.5. Those would be my 2 plays for the evening.
Beautiful. All righty. So those are our plays. That ends the betting portion of the segment or of the show. So if you guys are only here for the picks, I appreciate you guys for watching. Even if you guys are just here for the picks, we're going to talk a little bit more about the trade deadline. Me and Ian Cameron obviously reacted to it live. But now after a day, to settle in, recap everything. And of course, like I said, I want to hear Andrew's take on the Phillies. Wanted to give a brief synopsis, maybe 15, 20 minutes about the trade deadline. So, Andrew, let's start with the Phillies. I texted you, I think, the day before, and I heard like this is like the one deadline the Phillies don't want a reliever, and you're like, yeah, I kind of agree with that. I want an outfielder and a starting pitcher, and you got an outfielder and a starting pitcher. Brandon Marsh, sure, why not? And Noah Syndergaard. I'm sure you had a lot of feelings about Noah Syndergaard when he's on the Mets. So what are your overall thoughts on the Phillies trade deadline? I'll start with there.
No, I thought the Phillies did very well. Like you mentioned, we were texting each other, and I was like, just give me an outfielder and starter. Obviously, a reliever would be a bonus. You wouldn't complain about that. And they pick up David Robertson, which obviously is having a fantastic season. So no complaints there. You give up your 26th best prospect for him. I know he's 37, so obviously only got a few years left, and I don't even think he's under control for next year yet. But a guy that they had in the past, he got hurt, couldn't really pitch for the Phillies, and they bring him back. So that was exciting, give him a chance. He mentioned it before. He wanted to come back eventually and try to give the fans a year that he was supposed to give them. And then in terms of
I forgot about that. I forgot about David Robinson. And he closed the game today, right?
He did, yeah. Welcome back, and he got his first save with the team against the Braves this afternoon. So that was big. Get them back after last night. But, and then – going to the two Angels we got, which is funny because they were separate deals. They weren't even in the same trade. But I'll start with Syndergaard. No, he's a guy, obviously, bounced back year this year. He's doing better than I expected from him this year. Obviously, he's not what he was with prime Mets. But, I mean, you can't ask for that. I think he's going to come in and be the Phillies 3 starter. I think I'd expect that from him if you do make the playoffs. I think you're roll with Wheeler, Nola, Syndergaard over Ranger Suarez or Kyle Gibson there. I think you look for three, or I think you look for about 6 innings from Syndergaard. What scares me with him is just you saw with the Angels is they were giving him the extra day. Obviously, he's had the arm issues in the past. They were going with the 6-man rotation. So how is he going to adjust going back to the normal every 5th day? That's my biggest fear with him. I think he can give the Phillies some good innings, but is his arm going to be able to last through this whole second half of the season? That's where my fear comes in for him.
I think that's a good point about the 5-man rotation to 6-man. I find that to be very, very funny, or not funny. I find it to be very, very interesting because you're right. He's been a guy with arm injuries. You don't know how he's going to pitch. And maybe his arm starts fatiguing at the end of the year, and we start betting against him. So I don't hate that at all.
Yeah. So and that's where it's going to get interesting with him, and I'm excited to see what he's got. And I think that's where they view it is if he can't go, you go back to where you were at before the deadline, and you were in a wild card spot at the trade deadline. So I think you kind of roll the dice there with that spot. And then of course you mentioned it, Jared Marsh. Sorry. I don't know, a lot of fans are unhappy with the prospect we gave up. To me, I mean, you got to give up something. And
Mickey Moniak, right? Your boy?
That was the Syndergaard.
Oh, okay.
For Brandon, it was Logan O'Hoppe. He was our number 3 prospect, number 86.
Wow.
In the MLB. But it's a move you had to make. I think people forget we're about to get 2 of our best hitters back in Harper and Segura. Segura comes back tomorrow. And then Harper got the pins removed. He was taking batting practice and throwing today, so he should be back in 2 weeks. And I think so your offense is going to be fine. We need a defense pretty bad, and that's what you get in Marsh. So I think that's where that move came from. And he's under team control for the next 4 years. So I think that's why his price was up a little bit.
Yeah, that was a little surprising move. So shout out to them. I always thought you guys were going to get Jackie Bradley Jr. and you were going to struggle on that bus. So congratulations on not doing that. All right, so let's talk about, I've got trades that I like. I got 2 trades I like, one that I hated, and then just the funniest trade, which obviously you guys know which is, and I just want to talk to Andrew about it. So I don't know about you, Andrew, but I'll start this off, and we can just go back and forth here. Trade that I liked, my favorite trade, And the trade that I think will come in the most impact in October will be Rafael Iglesias to the Braves. And I'm not going to talk about the Juan Soto deal. Obviously, we know that was a win. Like that's just obvious. But Rafael Iglesias to the Braves. I've talked about it a couple times. I think he's a good reliever. I think he might be better than Kenley Jansen, and I think that will come up huge in October. And look, see, the Sweaty Butcher came in, and right on cue, I'm talking about the Braves, man. And I've told you, Andrew, I'm a big Braves guy now. I bet them to win the NL. I think they're the best team in baseball, truthfully.
Yeah, no, obviously I don't like the Braves, but I love that pickup for them. I've always been an Iglesias fan with Cincinnati, and then obviously going to the Angels, I thought he'd help them. But no, he's always been a good closer. Hopefully, he kind of struggled a little bit since going to the Angels. He kind of has some down innings. But I don't know if I'd say he's better than Kenley Jansen. But it'd be interesting to see who they close.
Yeah, I think Kenley Jansen will get the first crack at it, but I think he'll fold too many times, and I think Rafael Iglesias will take that job from him.
He might. We'll see what happens. They might even just platoon him. With Jansen's age, you might kind of just go matchup. Obviously, Iglesias got the speed there. I think William Jansen.
No, I think you're right there. So it'll be interesting to see. Maybe they go back and forth for sure. I trust obviously the Braves. I trust the Braves in general, obviously. Okay, another trade that I like, and it made an immediate impact today. This is my second favorite trade, was Trey Mancini to the Astros. First of all, obviously good vibes in the clubhouse. I like that. And he will just fit perfectly in the Crawford boxes. He hits a home run immediately today against the Red Sox. I think he will just adjust really well there, and it just lengthens our lineup. I told you guys I was at the Astros games this weekend, and I felt that their lineup was kind of lacking. Like Aledmys Diaz hitting fourth was just like, okay, sure. Like I'm not particularly worried about Aledmys Diaz, but Mancini gives them length. Christian Vasquez, I think, is a bit of a poison pill. Truthfully, I don't think he's as good as he's been hitting. But whatever, you guys know, or if you follow me on Twitter, you guys know that I have wanted him off the Red Sox for like 2 years now. So I've always thought there were better options out there. It's a good pickup for them, I guess, because they don't have any offense in the catcher spot behind anyways. But Mancini is a great move, and I think will be another move in October that we'll be seeing Trey Mancini hitting postseason home runs and being like, damn, man, they really did. And by the way, picture of Dave saying they're banging trash cans in Houston today. They're cheating in Houston today for giving fucking Yordan Alvarez 4 strikes. Those bastards. I don't know what they're paying the umpires, but 4 strikes to their best hitter. They're very lucky that next pitch was a ground ball and not a home run. I would have lost my fucking mind. But another trade for you, Andrew, that you liked?
Yeah, you want me a different one or touch on that Mancini one?
If you want to touch on that one, or if you want to move on to another one.
Okay. Well, yeah, real quick. I thought the Mancini was a great pickup. I do kind of feel bad for them, Baltimore finally started clicking, and they're like, okay, we're going to trade you.
We'll talk about these Orioles here in a second. I did wear this shirt on purpose. We'll talk about the Orioles again.
No, yeah, staying on them because I think an underrated trade deadline was the Minnesota Twins.
Absolutely.
I love the Lopez pickup they had there. Again, staying on that Orioles train. It's a shame. You even mentioned it, the family atmosphere that they kind of built over the season and finally got to this point, and it hit them hard to kind of get that last second trade there. So I do feel bad for him and Mancini there. But no, I thought Minnesota Twins had an underrated deadline, picking him up, and then Tyler Mahle. I'm kind of high on him. I think he's got high potential there to succeed with them.
I enjoyed what the Twins did too, but I'll talk about it on the other perspective. My least favorite trade of the trade deadline, was the Orioles trading away Jorge Lopez, who has 2 more years of team control after this. Exactly. Just despicable. That was one of the worst trades of the deadline for the Orioles. They're like 2 games out of a wild card. If they made the wild card, even if they lost in the first round, if they made the wild card, it'd be the best year these Orioles have had, these fans have had in like 10 plus years now. I don't know. I don't know when the last time they made the playoffs. It obviously was the Zach Britton deal. I remember that pretty funny enough. But it's just a sick deal for the Orioles, and they got a bunch of prospects that who knows who they'll become. But Bad ball by them. And another bad trade, just to quickly, since you talked about it, I think the Red Sox and obviously the Cubs not trading their guys away might come back to haunt them. I am bought in saying the Red Sox can't compete for this wild card spot. But I don't know if they lose JD Martinez, which I don't think they're going to re-sign him, and they just get like a qualifying offer, whatever the compensation is for that. I forgot what it is, like a pick, whatever. I'm sure, and then they're probably going to lose Nathan Eovaldi for another pick. Like, great, but like I don't know. I think they should have either bought or sold, and they straddled that line, and I didn't enjoy it. So it'll be interesting to see. But I ultimately saying the worst trade of the deadline was the Orioles trading away fucking Jorge Lopez.
I completely agree.
All right, man, and go ahead. Sorry.
I say with the Red Sox not trading with their guys, I think the Cubs are going to regret not trading their guys.
That's the most obvious thing ever. What the fuck were they doing? I don't even know.
There's no telling. I don't think anyone knows. They don't even know. That's how bad it is.
Yeah, I think it's shocking. Like, I really hope. Now this is one of my hopes and dreams now. Please, I hope the Red Sox signed Wilson Contreras. Oh my God, I'd be so happy if they did that. First of all, he's not much of a catcher anymore. I know that he's more of a DH, and luckily enough, the Red Sox have a DH spot opening up for them, so he can play either way, catcher or DH. I love Wilson Contreras. He's fiery. He does all that stuff. I would love Wilson Contreras on my team, for sure. And Ian Happ's good. So he's gonna go get paid somewhere else. So for sure, dumb moves there. And obviously the Chicago White Sox too. Both Chicago teams are just shitting all over themselves. Embarrassing. Who knows what the White Sox are doing?
No, they don't.
All right, so I'm gonna mention this trade obviously because I think it's hilarious. The Whit Merrifield deal is the funniest trade of the deadline. Still no news, I think, on that. Blue Jays fans, let us know. But it is, if he gets vaccinated, it's a good deal. If he doesn't, it's one of the worst deals in baseball history. So,
no, absolutely agree. I thought it was weird too. For every year, they're like, "Oh, we're not going to trade him. We're not going to trade him." And then last second,
like, yeah, they traded him 3 years too late. They traded him way too late. So shout out to them. But I hope Whitford Merrifield gets his playoff run. I hope he gets his playoff run. Any other trades that you want to highlight? I mean, we could talk about the Juan Soto deal really quickly, Andrew. I mean, I think it's one of the worst deals in baseball history for the Nats. I think it's really, really bad, and I think we'll remember this up there with the like I said immediately, like the Nats just got Babe Ruth, and I think it's that bad. So that's just me.
Well, when he declined the $440 million, he clearly wanted out. So I think it's a move you had to make. So that hurts some of the leverage there. And I think they got a good return there. I think Mackenzie Gore is a guy that's been in the league for a little bit this year now. So he brings back ready now potential. I think they did what they could there. I think Luke Voigt now hates Eric Hosmer for life, though.
That is the funniest thing ever. That is
going from a wild card team to AAA now. Did you hear that?
He's in Triple.
Washington's put him in AAA, I believe. If I read
what?
No, let me double check because I don't want to give out wrong information. But I'm pretty sure they said.
Oh my God, Luke Voigt, that's so fucking beat. Yeah, I saw that they sent C.J. Abrams to AAA, and they said that they were doing the same thing they did with Keibert Ruiz. They're like, get him used to the organization. I'm like, what, dude? What? It's just the Nats are such a dumpster fire. I would have waited until the offseason to trade him. And just get more leverage, but it's a crazy move. So that's just me here. And by the way, everyone talking about the Dodgers lineup, I think the Dodgers lineup is fearsome with or without Cody Bellinger. Cody Bellinger is I think a little overrated personally.
At this point, I think speaking of the Dodgers, that was one of the funniest trades was Joey Gallo.
Yeah, I mean. He goes from one big market in first place to another big market in first place, and now he's going to ride the bench, but he's going to have a lot less pressure on him. So, shout out to him. I think that's a good move for him personally. I hope he makes the postseason roster. I wouldn't be surprised at all if he didn't make it.
So I was wrong. He just wasn't in the starting lineup the last 2 days.
Okay,
they have decided he's going to join the team now.
Thank God. I was like, are you kidding me? If he got sent to AAA, that'd be the worst for him. By the way, another 2 quick things I want to point out of some baseball transaction stuff. Dinelson Lamet got DFA'd from the Brewers after being a part of that Josh Hader trade, which makes no sense now. And I said on what is the 5th month? January, February, March, April, May. I said in May that the Red Sox need a starter. And it seemed, and I've seen some scuttlebutt that the Red Sox have claimed him, and I'd be very happy if that happened. And what was my other thing? I forgot what the other thing was. I don't even remember now, I guess. So I guess that's all I've got. The Nelson Lamet. I hope he comes to the Red Sox. There you go. Andrew, I appreciate you for joining me.
Anytime.
It's always fun having you on. Shout out to your dog, Harper, by the way. Appreciate. Is it a girl dog, by the way?
It is a girl. She is a girl. 4 months. Okay.
Shout out to Harper, the dog. It's going to be a lot of fun, for sure. What's up, Andrew? You going to say something?
I don't know if you could hear her. She's been barking the last, 10 minutes.
Oh, yeah, no, that's why I mentioned her. She was a part of the show, so shout out to her. But, yeah, no, it's always fun talking to you, Andrew. I hope your Phillies do make the playoffs. It's going to be tight. I took a peek at the wild card standings right now. Braves are going to make it. The Padres are going to make it. And it's you versus the Cardinals, basically. Or I guess you versus the Cardinals versus potentially the Brewers, whoever wins that division. But it's going to be interesting. I don't know. It's going to be tight, Andrew. Officially, let's get your prediction now. On August 3rd, do the Phillies make the playoffs? Yes or no?
Yes, because I don't think since the Cardinals didn't do anything, I know they got Jose Quintana, but they didn't do enough.
Jordan Montgomery not doing it for you?
No, they gave away Bader. I think that
was a weird trade.
I think that's just as much of a loss. But
that's a weird trade, yeah.
No, I think because of that, no. I was afraid the Cardinals were going to add, whether it was Soto or somebody else. And, yeah, they would have taken the favorite there. But I think with the Phillies, the 3 additions, and Cardinals not doing much, I think that saved the Phillies.
That saved the Phillies. And by the way, for your Phillies friends, and when they traded your prospects that you like, Dave Dombrowski doesn't give a fuck about your prospects.
They're prospects too. I'm happy.
Fuck your prospects is what he's saying. It's so funny to me. By the way, I try to find some futures. I want to find to make the playoffs. I wanted to see if the Phillies had some good prices. But right now in Bovada, they have an MLB specials tab. And that MLB, I thought, maybe they'll have playoffs there. But MLB specials apparently includes who's going to win the home run title this year, which obviously is going to be Aaron Judge. But the other one is who's going to make the Hall of Fame. And your boy Scott Rowland, minus 200. So there you go. Shout out to Scott Rowland.
The glove, man.
No, man, that's funny. AJ1337, I'll recap the plays really quick one more time before we head out of here. Appreciate everyone for watching and sticking around for a little bit more trade deadline talk as always. I had Colorado first 5 money line, Pittsburgh team total over 3 minus 115, and I split the 1-1 so far. The Royals team total over 3.5, and then Minnesota minus 1.5. Shout out to the Taint play of the day, of course. So shout out to you guys for watching. Andrew, thank you so much. Where can we find you at? Anything to plug before we get out of here?
You can find me at AJ_Santangelo on Twitter. Another podcast I do, Strictly Phillies, is So You Think You Can Manage. And another podcast I do, all Philadelphia sports related, is Philly Sports Now.
Beautiful. Shout out to you. Who's your manager now, by the way? I don't know his name anymore because
Rob Thompson.
Rob Thompson? Man, shout out to Rob Thompson because that is that's a name I'll have to try to remember. We'll see if that happens. Thanks, everyone, for watching. We'll be back here tomorrow. Going to have Dabby Cab on the show to recap all of his adventures in Vegas, break down the whole card. Until say hey on social media, and we'll see you guys.